Hello fellow modelers and styling fanatics, welcome back to my channel. I hope that everyone is doing fine and enjoys the hobby. Concrete Bunker is back with a brand new episode. Your host is as always split personalities and parallel universe, George. On today's episode we have the first update on our 1/72 scale T-55 from Revell with kit number 03304. But I have a small surprise for you guys first. What kind of surprise? While I was building this kit, I took the decision to make it a step-by-step build. So I am going to make a video series starting from this episode in which I show you how I put stuff together. Now be careful. I am not saying that this is the way to do it. I'm just saying that this is the way I do it so far. In this video, you will see how I assembled the lower hull, road wheels, sprocket and idler wheels, and of course link and length tracks for this particular tank. Now, before Past George takes over and starts working, you guys may wanna grab a seat and crack the mandatory cold one so you can enjoy this episode. Let's see what he did. Well, hello YouTube. Welcome to first part of the first update for the T-55. I'm gonna try and film the whole building process of the T-55. So in front of you we have all the parts needed for the step 1 cleaned and ready to go, and I'm willing to as I said again try to film the whole process apart from the painting and guides you step by step through the way I build my tank kits despite the size. Either it is 1/72, 1/48 or 1/35. I am doing always the same process. So usually I start from the lower hull or the wheels. This time is the lower hull. And let's start. In front of us we have all the parts. And before I start, I want to point something out. This is what I like and in good kits. You can see over here we have the location points for parts to go together. So this way you know that you won't be wrong, that the part is always located in the right place. And this is what I like. This is great engineering from companies. So let's start from gluing this part first. Most of the time I use extra thin cements, either it's Tamiya or Mr. Hobby. Yes, Mr. Hobby is the name. This time I have Tamiya in my hands. First part is on. Let's move on the second part. Again, location points over here and over here. I don't care for the sprue gates over sprue gates, these markings over here, because they are not gonna be visible. If something is going to be visible, then I'm gonna sand it or fill it with putty. And now, this is from this side. Excuse my cat, guys, looking for attention. No, this is the correct side. It's the first time I'm doing a kit of this size in armor. Okay, I have done aircrafts, but it's the first armor of this size. Give me a moment to bring the object closer to my eyes because I watch it through a camera and it's a bit difficult. And now we have the first part ready. That's how it is supposed to look. I'm gonna let it cure over here, and the second part is the idler, sprocket and road wheels. I'm gonna cut them off the sprue, clean them, return back over here, glue the sprocket, the idler and one set of the road wheels so you can see how it is done, and we process from there. So update part 1 of update number 1 is finished. And we are back for part 2. What you see in front of you are all the road wheels, the idler and the sprocket. That's what you're supposed to be looking for if you're following along for this build. So now I'm gonna keep the sprockets and the idlers over here, and I'm gonna keep just a set of road wheels for demonstration purposes. I have sanded them down, cleaned them, and they are ready to go. Oh my god. Okay, let's start with the idlers first. Parts are tiny, sorry guys. Let me grab a pair of tweezers, 2 pairs of tweezers, and let's start putting them together. There is a small indentation over here, and there is supposed to go like in this part over here. They're supposed to meet. Anyway, we're gonna see if I can get it right. Of course, and I can't get it right. And this is how it's supposed to look. No, come on, focus. It won't focus. Now it. Okay, one of them is ready. Let's go for the second one. So we got the idler wheels ready. Let's go for the sprocket. This one is the outer side, if I am not mistaken, and this one is the one that's supposed to look in the inner side, to go in the inner side. Again, there is indentation points everywhere that help you line the parts up. No. I grabbed the wrong piece to show you. So oh, come on, focus. This is the inner side, guys, I'm sorry. And this is the outer. Okay, we've got one ready. Let's get the second one also. And I dropped something off my bench. Okay. I'm gonna grab it in a moment. Here it is. Ready to go. 2 idlers, 2 sprockets. Now, over here in front of me, I have a pair of road wheels. There is 5 on each side, 5 pairs, so 10 in total. You need to clean and sand 20 pieces. This one is the inner side that's supposed to look onto the lower hole like this, and this one is the outer. Again, there are indentation points. I know I am repeating myself a lot, but since they are, I have to mention them. And this is probably going to be a little bit tougher. Okay. Like this, I think. Yes, like this. No, I need a little bit more glue. Oh my god, it glued on my finger. I need to clean that up. This is gonna leave a fingerprint. And those are not ready. God, they are so, pieces are so tiny, guys, I'm sorry. Okay, so now I need to make 8 more of these, and I'm not gonna pause it. Okay, after I will pause the video, I'm gonna make the rest of those into pairs as I showed you, and then I'm gonna be back to tell you our next course of action. So be right back. As I have told you, everything is assembled and ready to go to the lower hole. We have 10 sets of road wheels, 2 sprockets and 2 idlers. And my next course of action, because I don't own an airbrush at the moment, probably I won't be owning at the near future anyway, is to brush paint the lower hole now that I have the chance to get into there, because the next step is going to be attachment of the tracks. So now is the time for me to do it, to paint and weather the lower hole and detail paint all the wheels. And here is my plan of action and what the order that I'm gonna follow. First, I'm gonna coat the whole thing with Vallejo Model Air 71-81 3B Russian green, because it is going to work as a base coat for everything, and it is the color that will cover the majority of the vehicle. Then for the rubber parts over here of the road wheels, I'm gonna go with Vallejo Panzer Aces 306 dark rubber. It is my go-to color when I wanna depict rubber. And for the places where the tracks are grinding onto the sprocket and the idler, I'm gonna use this one, Vallejo Model Air 71065 steel, to depict wear and tear where the tracks are grinding onto the idler especially, and the teeth of the sprocket wheels. Then I'm gonna apply a pin wash with Tamiya panel liner and maybe some matte effects, and all this are gonna happen as onto these parts before I assemble everything. At this, as you see at this stage, when I finish with that, I'm gonna return and I'm gonna assemble all of these parts that you are looking in front of you, and we're gonna be ready for track painting and application. That is the way I find more convenient for the way I work. It's that I'm not telling you that it is the proper way, I'm just telling you that this is the way I do it. And I'll be back when I will have finished with the painting of these parts. And we are back. It's been one day since the last time I recorded, and as you can see, my friends, in front of you, I have the lower hull, road wheels, sprockets and idlers all painted and slightly weathered. Here is the example. Let me give you a close-up. Here is the bottom of the lower hull, and here we have the sides. And here we have, let me grab a better one. And here we have an example of the road wheel. My camera cannot catch it, but inside the crevices or everything is dusted up, and that here is what I have used in order. As I said, I have base coated everything with this color, 71.281 3B Russian green. I then cast the raised surfaces and highlights with 71043 US olive drab, because that was the only lighter tone of green that I had. Places where the track grabs, like the idlers over here and these parts over here where the track pins are hitting onto, are done with 065 steel, and the rubber parts are done with this one, 306 dark rubber. After all that, I gave it a coat. After all this painting, I gave a coat of Tamiya panel liner, and to make this dusty effect, I mixed water with 315 light mud in a wash-like consistency and applied on every surface. I then waited for it to dry and grabbed myself a cotton bud and wiped off the excess, as you can see over here. What are we going to do now, you may ask? We are going to glue the road wheels and the idler to place, and I'm gonna leave the sprocket until the last moment where I am going to attach the tracks onto the vehicle. So let's start gluing. And be sure that I am in frame. Probably you won't be able to see most of my lower hull weathering, but I know it's there. You know now that it is there, and it is a good way to practice new techniques if you want to practice on weathering. So that's, if you want a test bed, this is the ideal spot to do it. If it fails, it fails. Nobody's gonna be able to see it. If it works, it works. You stick with that technique, and everyone is happy. Especially you are happy that you are building this thing and learning new techniques. Oops. We have a runner over here. These things go in stiff. I may need to revisit them. And maybe enlarge their holes a bit. Anyway, let's glue the road wheels. Those 1 in 72nd scale tanks are fun to do. Up to this point, I like them. They are small and it takes so little time to put one together. Okay, and here it is, my friends. Here's how it's looking. I hope I wasn't out of frame most of the time. Oh, no. Now it's proper. I'm gonna line them up and wait for those wheels to dry. And we're gonna proceed on to our next step. Our next step will be the application of the tracks. I'm gonna paint them, weather them a bit, and I'll be back for that. So see you then. 2 days later, my friends, and finally I have managed to paint the tracks, as you can see over here, and assemble one side of them to see how they go together. Luckily they are easy enough to put together. And here it is how one side is looking. And let me tell you what I have done on them. how I painted them, and they look like this. Okay, my first step was to paint them with track primer from Vallejo Panzeraces 304. I then in the inner side over here, where the road wheels and idler are rubbing onto the tracks, I have gave them a coat of gunmetal 71072. Then I gave them a wash with Tamiya black panel liner, and finally I have made a wash like the previous time with light mud 315 to make them look dusty. So the instructions point out that you should put the tracks into separate steps. Let me show you what I mean. You put the upper part of the tracks first, and then on the next step the lower part, and you have the tracks ready. Now, one tip that I have to share about the tracks from my experience is always leave the idler wheel off until the very end, because you never know if it is going to line up with the tracks. So leave it off until the very end, and when you assemble and attach the tracks, attach the sprocket also. This is gonna make your life easier. And if you are building a link by link, go slow. But link by link is for another video. Right now I'm gonna show you how I do link and length tracks. So I have all the parts ready, and I'm gonna assemble the thing in front of you. It's gonna take me a while, but hopefully you will be able to see what I'm doing. Let me cut the parts of the sprue tree. So for the upper side we have this length, which is bent on purpose. This came like this out of the sprue because it is depicting the track sag. And the instructions say that you have to grab 1 or 2 teeth from the idler with this length, so it is supposed to go here. Luckily enough, Tamiya extra thin can glue painted parts with with Vallejo colors, so I won't be using super glue. Give me a moment. Of course, and I have trouble. Now our next step is going to be to wrap 3 parts of tracks around the sprocket. Let me cut those parts off. Okay, first part is ready. As you can see, I am also having a hard time sometimes with them. It is not as easy as you imagine. Of course, and some parts don't wanna fall in place so easily. But I make sure to take my time and see that everything lines up, as you can see. And when I'm sure that everything is in place, only then I am applying the glue. And we have the rear part ready. Okay, I know that this protrudes a bit over here, but when I finish the video, I'm gonna glue it and stick something onto it to make sure that it is in place properly. And now we have two more parts that go up in the front and wrap around the idler. Give me again a moment to cut them. Since the idler wheel has no teeth, it is more easy to align the track parts onto it. Okay, we have a runner. And with that, we have all the upper side of the tracks assembled. Now we have 3 more pieces to go that are lengthy. One of them is over here. Now this thing needs to line up with this and go straight. Let me show you what I mean. It needs to go like that. Let me see if I can catch it with my camera. No. There we go. You need to constantly be careful that the tracks are lined up properly and make sure that they are the right way and you use the right pieces if they have numbers under them. Generally, my advice is to go slow and don't let don't let whatever happens get in your mind, piss you off or make you frustrated, because then is when you lose the game, if you know what I mean. Okay. And now we install the final piece. That is the most crucial spot, because the installation of the final piece is gonna let you know that if you have done anything wrong or everything went as they should. In my case of scenario, everything worked out fine. Just a little bit tweaking here and there that I'm gonna do off camera. And this is how they look. And with the tracks installed, we have made it up to 7th step. We finished 7th step, and we are going to proceed onto the 8th, which is installation of the upper hull probably, and I'm gonna wrap the whole episode. So part 1 of the T-55 will be up to this point. I hope that I have helped you, gave you an idea how tracks are going together and how in general a tank is going together, the way I do it. Anyway, I'm out of here. Future George is gonna talk to you. And with all that said and done, we have made it to the end of this part. And here is how our build is looking so far. This is the lower hull, almost completed for the bigger part. And we are next part is gonna start from step 9 of the instructions, and we are going to work on the upper hull. Before I go, I wanna thank each and every one of you guys for watching. I also want to welcome any newcomers. I hope that all of you are enjoying my videos and what I do here. If so, you'll know what to do. Leave a like, comment with your thoughts and opinions, share the video, or even consider subscribing for more builds to come your way. Until the next time, fellow modelers and friends, take care and model on. It was that Mofo Damon, signing out.